talk upon the what is the importance of feedback, how feedback influences the overall quality of the students, teachers, as well as the other facilities in the any higher education institutions. So we'll go through this. We'll go through some common examples how feedback is necessary in every sectors, not only in academics only. If you take the cine industry, you take the industries and other corporate sectors, everywhere you will be able to find the feedback of your performance is very much important. No matter, or what we can say that is performance is always matter to recognize anyone's performance, to award, to honor, to recognize any person. His performance is the major criteria. However, how you are behaving with your colleagues, how you are addressing, how we are communicating to your clients. I am taking the example of the corporate sector. So here you can see that both the pretty girls, the pretty women, they worked hard, they gave their best performance. However, just a lack of the good feedback regarding one of them has missed her opportunity to get promoted in the job. So how the feedback is a major concern in every sectors. This is just an example of this. This is one more example of the feedback that every married man can understand what is the importance of the feedback in while sitting on the dining table. If you didn't give the feedback on what is the meal prepared by your wife, so what will be reaction or what will be reply from her side? We can understand. No, I am also agree that we should appreciate the whatever efforts taken by her while preparing the meal. But whenever we doesn't like the meal, she can recognize the feedback from your press. So, dear friends, these are some common examples where how feedback influences the performance of the someone's.
I can't change the system.
Someone is talking in between, just Dr. H.V. Belagali ko someone is talking.
Change power. I am just a simple.
Dr. Pushpa, you are there?
Yes, sir. Just a minute. We are unmuting all. 1 minute, sir. 1 minute.
ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಬದಲು ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
Okay, it's audible. This is the unavoidable and unacceptable.
Sir, now please you unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's audible?
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Yeah. Well, we can take one more example of how feedback influences someone's performance. This is an example of unavoidable and unacceptable phenomenon which is happening across the globe. Don't think we Indians are only doing this, but across the globe we can find this gossiping in someone's absence. But the comments or the discussion we are making, who is absence, who is not there in there is with us. So how that person takes your comments, how person take whatever words you are used for that person, the feedback, the impact of feedback is depend on this. If we could take the example of there are two friends and they are discussing about third person, but fortunately or unfortunately, some of them is the best friend of the third person as well. So she will provide the feedback what was discussed in between them. If he talks positively, it will be better for his individual performance. However, this is not quite acceptable thing or the quite acceptable way of giving the appreciation or the giving the remarks on anybody's performance, anybody's behavior. So this is unavoidable task throughout the globe. Then we can take the one more example. We are all aware that we all are watching movies, and the success of the movies depends on the how feedbacks they got from the analysts, viewers, and based on that, the movie is rated through 1 star, 2 star, 5 star rating is given. And success of these movies, which are dependent totally on the feedback of the analyst. So these are the few examples. Just now we have gone through the examples of the various sectors like cine industry, corporate, and other industries. Now we'll coming back to our teaching fraternity or the teaching industry. Due to this COVID-19 pandemic across the globe, the whole globe is connected to each other through the virtual engagement. And we are the teachers. We are also need to connect with our stakeholders, especially our enrolled students. And by using the different platforms, we are connecting, we have maintaining our connectivity with the students. And almost all the higher education institutions of the country, they have started their virtual engagement or their online classes. They have already started their theory periods. Some of the colleges or some of the higher education institutions, they have availed the virtual lab facility to the students. But when feedback comes from the various stakeholders and various colleges or the authorities of the colleges, what is their feedback? The colleges like us, those are bearing the fees, or those are bearing the, what we can say, that the license copy fees of the various online platforms. Those are running online classes as well as the virtual labs very properly. However, the colleges which are resided in the what we can say that is in the hilly as well as the tribal regions, they are facing several problems. They don't have the enough ICT facilities. They don't have the enough what we can say the network bandwidth. So that's why they are facing a lot of problems. And that's why those people are using the free versions of the online platforms. When one can use the free versions of the online softwares or the online platforms, what will happen? They don't have the control over the online classes. Here we can see that some of the examples of the if the colleges don't have the license copies of the online platforms, someone is talking in between how you have muted me. Someone is talking about the ma'am, I can't see you. Someone is but then teacher is asking to the students why you are using the mobiles. The students are asking, sir, I don't have the laptops. This is the major concern that most of the students of the hilly as well as the tribal regions, they don't have their own laptops as well as the mobiles. In some of the areas, I can see that during my online classes, 2-3 students, they came together and they attend the online classes. Such comments are passed during the classes when class is going on. And climax of this is the students got the range when they have to talk, when they have to ask, or they have to type in the chat box. But when the teachers, they ask about the certain questions and what we can say that any feedback regarding the online classes, suddenly the range is not there. Answer is coming from the students. So these are the several hurdles are there. However, we should take this as an opportunity. If you see the NAC perspective, there are some marks for the use of ICT, and it is expected that every teacher should be aware about the ICT and he should use the ICT facility while conducting the classes. And due to this COVID-19 crisis, every faculty got the opportunity to adequate with, to what we can say, to cope up with this ICT facility. And now everyone, every teacher of the country of the or the globe, they are using the online facility for what we can say, for providing our theory, conducting our theory as well as the practicals. So we can take it as positively, and we should have to move forward. So these were some examples of the feedback in the various sectors, including right from the home, then different industries, as well as the teaching fraternity. Now, what is the exact meaning of the feedback? We should have to go about the what is feedback and what are the exact definitions of the feedback. As you are aware that feedback is nothing but it is a process in which the effect or output of an action is returned to modify the next action. That is, feedback is also most essential for improvement among anyone's performance, and it should be reflected in his next action. It is a dialogue between the peoples to someone else's behavior of the performance. It is also called as the feedback. It is very much essential to the working and survival of all regulatory mechanisms, including the education system and economy of the country, any country. It is essential to have a feedback, to have a, what we can say that, feedback on this system. That's why any system will able to improve their performance. Then what is the important thing is that feedback occurs when an environment reacts to an action or behavior. That is, once we have received the feedback from the individuals or the organizations, those peoples who are able to adjust or able to change their behavior, their action, their performance, those only will be survived. Otherwise, there is no importance of receiving the feedback from someone else. There is also one nice quote about the exact feedback meaning, that is, the feedback is providing effective information on someone's performance. That is the most suited sentence which is related to the meaning of the feedback. That is information on someone's performance. That includes everything, where he is lacking, how he is lacking, what he should do for the improving her or his performance. That all things are including in the feedback. So there are few definitions which was given by some of the researchers, including what Grant Wiggins says: feedback is not about praise or blame. It is not related to blaming anyone, blaming any individual, blaming any organization, or not about the praise, not to say only good things about any organization. Or what Grant Wiggins says that it is not an approval or disapproval, which means it is not related to whatever activities, whatever progress made by any organization is good or bad. It is not the way to approve these activities, or what is bad there in the organizations or the any individuals, we should disapprove through the feedback. This is not the meaning of the exact feedback. Feedback is a value neutral. Value neutral. It is described of what you did and did not do. This is the definition which was described by the Grant Wiggins. That is, what till date any person has done or any organization has done, and what they should do in future for their betterment of the stakeholders or individual organizations, which covers the this definition is perfect. Then what Robert says that the most feedback is the most powerful single modification that enhances achievement. What he compared that, when someone or some individual suffering from any diseases in current pandemic crisis, I hope that No one should go through this. However, if anyone suffers from any diseases or any fever, like fever, cold, or something other illnesses, what we do in such conditions? Simply, we goes to the doctor. Doctor gives the prescription. Then what we did? We goes to the medical shop, takes the medicines, and this process is going on till we get feel better. So Robert says that feedback is just like a prescription of a doctor, which is important to improve the performance of any individual, students, teachers, any organizations, and very precisely he's confined this definition. And this is nothing but whatever struggle or weakness today we have, that should be developed into our strength, and what we can say that how it will be the beneficial or how it will be used to make the improve in the future. So these are the few definitions. I'm not going into the exact definitions. However, why feedback is important in any sectors, as like in academic sector, industrial sector, corporate, as well as the cine industry and everywhere. Why this feedback is so important? Feedback is very important only because of the people want feedback, so they feel more secure in their jobs. Which means if we are giving the feedback on anyone's performance, if you are taking the example of teacher, if students are giving the feedback on the teachers, the teacher will able to know where he is lagging, what he needs to improve in his teaching, and they will feel the comfort in his job and they will enjoy their jobs. So this is one of the important part of the receiving the feedbacks. Then what feedback gives us? That the feedback gives us our strengths as well as the weakness. Strength as well as our weakness. So based on these comments, one can improve their performance. A low feedback may be harmful to the health of the business. The health of the business, that is low feedback. Low feedback means the what we can say that is the comments which are not supportive to the anyone's performance. Then what will the other impact of the feedback is the employees are able to check their assumptions. Then if the feedback process is handled properly, it can be rewarding for everyone involved, which means that feedback system is a process which initiates. If you take the example of the corporate sector, the industry owner of this what we can say that industry, he starts taking the feedbacks from their employees. Then if the feedback process is properly implemented, it will help to growth of the industry. Indirectly, the owner of the industry, employers of the industry, employees of the industry, everyone will be the benefited if it is implemented in proper channel or it is implemented in very effectively. So that is what the feedback helps to the what we can say the performance. Performance means student, teachers, or those are working in the various sectors. What is the current position? Currently, what we are doing, and what is expected in the near future? What will the gap between these two? It will be fulfilled by the comments received from the those who are giving the feedbacks, or those are the stakeholders. We can say that when we receive the feedback from the stakeholders, it will be improved, or it will fulfill whatever the gap between current as well as the future or the desired goals or the performance. So dear friends, what is the ultimate goal of this feedback mechanism in every sector? if you take academic, industrial, corporate, political, agriculture, policy making, if you take every sector, or you can take the very good example of the national education policy, uh, which is just approved by the central government of India. And while they kept the draft of the NEP on the website of the Ministry of Education, over 2 lakhs of feedbacks in the form of suggestions the Ministry of Education received. So what will be the final achievement or the final output while receiving the feedback or the comments from the others? It provides the proper instructions for improvement of someone's performance. That is the ultimate goal of the feedback mechanism in every sectors. So now we come to the our academic fraternity or the academic industry. Before taking the feedbacks from the someone's or the some stakeholders, we should clear the ideas of the stakeholders. That is the basic differences between the what is feedback and what is evaluation or the assessment. As we are aware that feedback is nothing but is an ongoing process. And in contrast, assessment or evaluation provides the closure. Once your assessment is done, this process is stopped. However, feedback is continuous process. It is an ongoing process which is helpful for improvement of the college. Whatever we are and how we can improve our qualities, which we are able to do this through the feedback received from the various stakeholders. However, assessment is just based on the judges the quality. They will just judge you what are your qualities. But assessment and evaluation, you didn't give doesn't give any idea regarding how you should improve your quality. But we should get these ideas from the feedback mechanism. Then feedback is individualized. However, assessment is applied against the standards. There are standards which are already set up. As we are the affiliated and autonomous colleges, we are adopting the whatever what we can say that is the syllabi, whatever the evaluation pattern given by the UGC. There are standards which are already set for this assessment. However, the feedback mechanism is dependent on the individual, department, dependent on the person to person, department, it is dependent on the, what we can say that organization to organization. For the different level, different feedback mechanisms are there. Then what is the other major difference in this is it is not graded. Feedback is not graded. If anyone provides the feedback and after receiving the feedback, no one can give the grade. This is good feedback, this is bad feedback, or this is this feedback have this amount of marks, this percentile of marks. We are not grading the feedbacks. However, assessment and evaluation, you will get the grade. You are achieved this much score, you have achieved this much grade, you have achieved this much percentile. So feedback is never graded. Then what we can also say that is the feedback is the process oriented and assessment is the product oriented. So these are the differences we should know while conducting the feedbacks in the academic sessions. If you consider the feedback mechanism in teaching learning perspectives, what can be effective feedback achieved when we have received the feedbacks from the students? But most this is the either way. Our teachers should also provide the feedback on the student performance. So that's why they will able to know what they are doing, where are the lacunas, how they should increase their what we can say the performance. These are the patterns. Students will help to increase their efforts. Once the teacher should teacher what we can say that told students, you are lagging in this task, you are not doing this properly. So students will take more and more efforts to increase their performance. Students should can develop more effective and learning strategies. Students can increase their autonomy and self-regulation. That is the most important feature of the feedback, which is given by the teachers on the student performance, and this will ultimately help to perform the students in classrooms as well as the outside the classrooms. What teachers should look after while giving the feedback to the students? It should not be only restricted with the academic performance of the students, as what students are doing in the class, or what students are doing, or how students are performing in the examinations, which should not restricted ourselves to while giving the feedback on the students' performance. However, behavioral changes, that is, if any students are misbehaving, how is their day-to-day performance? He is attending the classes. In most of the cases, what happens? Some of the students, they are attending the practical sessions, however, they are not coming in for the theory classes. So these behavioral changes we should also have to notice to the students. So this will definitely help to increase the performance of the students. So, dear friends, there are different types of feedbacks. That is positive versus negative. The way we are receiving the feedback depends on that, verbal or non-verbal, quantitative versus qualitative, that is multiple objective versus descriptive. Then if you are taking in the manual, either a written or the online, if you are conducting internal feedback or the external feedback, either immediate or delayed, then motivational or developmental, there are several types of the positive feedbacks are there. However, the positive and negative feedback, as we are all globe is now facing the COVID-19 crisis, and the most negative word in the current situation is the positive. As we are aware that if someone of our close or nearest or dearest, they found the positive for the COVID-19, and we are using this word very negatively. Positive word is we are using the negatively. Dear friends, we can't take the negative comments so easily, or the so okay, what we can say that these negative comments sometimes gives us the way or route to improve ourselves. But negative we can say in both terms. That is, the comments received from the uh, feedback giver or the stakeholder in terms of the negative words or the negative comments. And one more meaning of this negative feedback is that if you give the task very complex while framing the questionnaire for the feedback form, the students get confused and they neglect this feedback process or the feedback mechanism. That is also one of the important tasks we should have to consider in the negative feedback. As we are aware that positive feedback is always good. Positive in the sense it should not be praise. What is praise? Praise is the just good words about you. It should not be restricted while talking. You are doing well. You are doing great. You have done this. Thank you. Such kind of words should be avoided while giving the feedback. Positive feedback means that this kind of feedback gives exact idea about the improvement. They are provided the certain areas where the institute or either individual or the institute, they should improve themselves. So this is the one of the important or the this is the most acceptable or most constructive feedback in the higher education institutions. So one should say that is the criticism and compliments are also one of the ways of the feedback. However, my dear friends, criticism is creating the negative what environment in the individual's mind as well as the what we can say that the organizational environment as well. It is a negative way, but it doesn't tell us how to improve. Critics only what they made the critics about anyone. He's not doing well. He's a liar. He's something doing wrong. However, they are not giving the ways, or they are not giving the ideas how he should stop these things, how he should give the they should give the proper platform for the improvement of this individual or the organization. On the other hand, compliments are just like praise, as I told you. Compliments are positive. You are doing well, you did this, you have achieved this, you got this. These are the terminologies which looks very good for hearing. However, such kinds of compliments are also not helpful for improving the performance in future. So feedback, or that is the only positive feedback, which is the most constructive way to receive the negativity as well, positive comments as well. Then what are the areas where we can improve ourselves as well. So these points of view, the positive feedback is the most constructive way to receive the suggestions for the further improvement. As I told you, the constructive criticism is always helpful to the builds or builds up, and it never knocks down, which means constructive criticism. Criticism, you should do the critics about anyone. However, you should have to provide the ideas, or the provide the, or we can identify the areas where individual or the organization can improve their performance. You should tell them you are lagging behind here, and then you should tell how you should improve your. So constructive criticism builds up the, what we can say, the builds up anybody's performance. However, it never, or it doesn't knock down anybody's performance. As I told you, that is about praise. Don't use this word. You did great job, best yet, keep it up, good work, love it, you are doing excellent, you did great. These are just compliments. From these compliments, we doesn't get any idea about how we should improve ourselves, for our, how we should improve someone's performance. If we listen, or if you hear such kinds of comments from the those who are giving the feedbacks or the stakeholders, then we are going to stop our what we can say, the performance or the growth. Those feedback who gives any idea regarding how to improve your performance, that should constructive feedback should be accepted. As the title of our talk is the what is the power of feedback. Feedback power is very influencing in every higher education institutions across the globe. If you use the if any teacher gives the feedback on the student performance, what will be the impact of his performance, or what will be the impact of the feedback? That is immediate impact on the results. One can find that if students are properly guided, properly instructed, then you will be able to find the impact on the results. Then there is the very few cases you will find about the failures. If you give the feedback about the attendance, those who are not attending the classes, so you will able to get the impact on the better attendance in the classes as well as the lab sessions. Then there is no need to take the actions on the students, so fewer suspensions will be there. So this will be the major impact when teachers give the what we can say, that the feedback on the student performance. But vice versa, when students gives the feedback on the performance of the teachers or the quality of the teachers, then what will happen? There is a great power, or there is a strong power behind the feedback which was given by the students on the teachers. What it will help? Teacher will improve his teaching aids. Teacher will improve his method of teaching. Teacher will upgrade his knowledge, recent knowledge. Or teacher will upgrade his own qualities. He will attend the faculty development programs, hands-on training programs on the recent advancement in the particular subject. So this will happen when student give the feedback on the teachers, and both will be the benefited. When teacher's quality or the teacher is improved in several ways, it will be benefited to the students. When students give the feedback on the, what we can say, our whatever the facilities are there in the institutions, so it will definitely help to improve the whatever infrastructure facilities will be there, whatever library facilities, ICT facilities, then residential facilities which are available in the inside the campus, sports facilities, then extracurricular activities. So everything will be improved once the feedback is received from the students and the author. Sorry, just a minute. When these changes will be happen, when authorities of the higher education institutions, they took or they take the feedback whatever received from the students very positive manner. Those who wants to change, those who want to grow, those who wants to increase their performance, all these higher education institutions, they takes this feedback very positively. If you see the change among the higher education institutions before starting the NAC accreditations and after starting the NAC accreditations. After the once the NAC accreditation is started, most of the higher education institutions, they have created a good infrastructure. They have created a very good facilities of the sports. They have created the ICT enabled classrooms, then virtual classrooms. Then they have the good infrastructure or the e-resources, library facilities. Everything is drastically upgraded since the NAC accreditation is started. So there is a great power while receiving the feedback from the various stakeholders, especially the currently enrolled students. They can give their feedback on the whatever the facilities, drinking facilities, urinal facilities, everything they have. There is a one feedback mechanism, that is grievance redressal cell in the higher education institutions, and through all these things are very much improved in all the higher education institutions. So what are the good qualities of the good feedback? How good feedback or the effective feedback can be assessed? So feedback, there are 4 elements. If we consider by formulating the questionnaire for the feedback, these 4 elements should be considered by every higher education institutions. Then and then only the effectively, what we can say, we will able to receive the very effective feedback from the stakeholders. While formulating while preparing the questionnaire, one should give the basic idea regarding, it should be reflected through the questions. That is information, what was good. That is currently what is good and what was good about the institution. Things to be created, what we are going to create in the campus in the near future, or what we are going to improve in teaching, learning, infrastructure, and other student support activities. Then you should provide, one should receive through the questionnaire, that is how we are going to improve this. For example, we are asking the question about the how you felt about the facilities provided, resources provided by the institute. So student will rate accordingly whatever the criteria you are given. However, your next question should be, what are the areas how the institute should improve the resources. So this should be considered while framing the questionnaire, and some of the questions, they should reflect the directions for the future development. So these 4 elements will give you idea regarding the very effective what we can say that is the feedback. So what are the characteristics of the good feedback? what we should be considered, or the things we should be considered in the while framing the questionnaire or while receiving the feedback from the stakeholders. It should be goal referenced. As most of the if you see the NAC perspective, it is a goal reference. That is the first criteria only, curricular aspects, and the NAC is expecting the feedback from the stakeholders on the curriculum design and curriculum review. So it should be very specific, goal referenced. Then it should be very transparent. It should be actionable. Actionable means if we are giving or we are providing the certain questions in the questionnaire, and those can't be converted into the action if suggestions come from the stakeholders. So this is not good way. It should be actionable. We should have to take the action while receiving the feedback from the your stakeholders. It should be user friendly. It should be not much confusing. Not much hard words should be used in the while framing the questionnaire. The students or the stakeholders should easily got the it should be easily get the whatever the basic idea behind this question. And it should be very timely. Timely means that some institutions, they are taking the feedback semester wise. Some they are doing or same they are following the annual pattern. However, my suggestion will be there, that is we should have to take the feedback semester wise. What happens? The student learns something about a paper or a course in the month of what we can say June to October. And rightly, after completing the semester 1, he joins the semester 2, and we are asking about the curriculum of the semester 1 at the end of the semester 2. So it should not be effective. It is not an effective way to conduct the feedback or to receive the feedback from the stakeholders. And it is very important. If you take the teaching learning concern, just after completion of your talk in the classroom, teacher should ask the whatever feelings or whatever inputs from the students. That is, are they understand the concept? Is it okay to the students, or the whatever teaching tools or the aids used for this particular topic? Is it okay to you? So such timely feedback is very much important. Then ongoing, it should be ongoing process. As I told, just only once is not acceptable. If you took or if you take this feedback timely as well as the ongoing, that is after few intervals or the few intervals, it will help to strengthen the someone's performance, and it should be consistent. Just we have took in this academic year, then we have avoided in the next academic year, or it should be consistent, ongoing as well as the timely. Those are the parallel terminologies, but we should get the proper meaning from these terminologies. So while framing the questionnaire for the feedback, one can keep in mind regarding the Bloom's taxonomy, as that is which is based on the students' levels. So we should consider, I'm not going into detail about this, as all the teaching fraternity is most aware about the Bloom's taxonomy, how it is utilized in the while framing the or drafting the curriculum, as well as it is also helpful in the evaluation process. So dear friends, we should have to follow the Bloom's taxonomy or the learning level of the students while conducting the feedbacks. This is the feedback cycle, which is the most effective way. Which are the most effective ways? Just we are conducting or just we are receiving the feedbacks. It is not okay for any individual or not any organization. If we receive the feedbacks, it needs to analyze. It needs to be taken into the action. And not only action is taken is important. Once action is taken, then evaluation of the performance, which is also one of the important tasks in the feedback cycle mechanism that you people are much aware. I'm not going into the detail about this. If feedback mechanism is what we can say, break. The cycle is breaked. There is no improvement either in individual's performance or organizational performance. This is the most favorite model of the feedback mechanism, which was described by the Hetchy and the Chifferle in 2007. And on 4 levels, they have mentioned the 4 levels while feedback questions are there. That is task level, process level, self-regulation level, and self level. While conducting or while framing the questionnaire based on these 4 levels, one can keep in mind regarding, that is, 3 questions are there. Where am I going? How am I going? And where to the next? Where am I going? We are aware that where we are. Now we are aware that where we are going. But feedback tells you how you are going. Okay, so such kinds of things we should have to keep in mind while framing the questionnaire of the feedback for the students. I'm not taking too much time of yours. However, there are few tips or the few points which I would like to cover in the giving effective feedback. That is, effective feedback is the information that calls attention to the problem. Effective feedback means solution for any problem, or the what we can say, the route we can perform where we are lagging behind in progress, or the what we can say, the performance of the individuals. So these are the factors which affects the effective feedback mechanism. As I told previously, timely. You should have to take immediately instead of the delayed responses from the students or the stakeholders. Then frequency is a matter. Matters the effective feedback. That is, as I told you, that you can take semester wise or the annually. However, if you are taking the feedback very frequently, that is periodically, then students will be bored and they will neglect our feedback mechanism. So frequency should be mentioned. Then amount of feedback, it should not be very bulky. There should be very limited numbers of questions should be there. Then which type of feedback we are providing to the stakeholders and receiving the feedback from them, that is also one of the important matter. Then task complexity, it should be very easily understandable matter should be there in the questionnaire. Then a conduction route, that is how you are going to conduct the feedback, that is a written format, online format, or any other format, that we should have to take into consideration while providing the feedback to the students. And one and most important feature is that consistent updates in the questionnaire. As you are aware that some of the teachers, they have prepared the notes at the very beginning of his service, and till the end of the retirement, the same notes is provided to the students. So that should not be happened. That is not expected in the higher education institutions. And as per the requirements of the 21st century, we should update our questionnaire or the expectations to improve the organizational performance. As you are aware that students can give their feedback on the various aspects of the higher education institutions, right from the design and review of the curriculum. Then the students are also giving feedback on the evaluation process of the institution, because evaluation process is the heart of the institute, any higher education institute, and it should be very transparent and it should be very user friendly, and it should evaluate the overall performance of the students. So students can also provide their feedback on the evaluation process. Then whatever facilities are there in the library, ICT, e-resources facility, students also gives an their feedback on the teachers. It will help to improve the teachers' quality, teachers' performance in the classroom. Then students also provides the information or the feedback on the whatever the residential facilities are there in the campus, sports facilities, extracurricular activities, as well as the overall things or overall facilities are there in the institute. So receiving feedback from all these points, any institute will able to perform better in the future, or while they are accepting the whatever suggestions or whatever feedback they have received from the stakeholders. So which are the effective ways to receive the feedbacks in the higher education institutions? That is, there are different ways. If you can take orally, that is verbal, or in the form of written. If it is written, it is given in the manual or the online descriptive mode. That is descriptive as well as the objective mode. You can take the feedback in the form of audio clips or the video clips. Those students, that is alumni, then what we can say that the collaborators, the institutions which have, then online. There are several numbers of online platforms or the social media platforms are nowadays are very popular to take the what we can say that feedback from the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? Stakeholders are nothing but our currently enrolled students, alumni, employers, parents, as well as the what we can say that industrialists, and these things are the and the society. Those are the stakeholders. So while picking the stakeholders feedback, the most common way nowadays it is employed in the many higher education institutions is the Google form. What is the easiest way of the Google form is that it is very easy way of handling, user friendly. If stakeholders gives their feedback, it receives the feedbacks, and after receiving the feedbacks from all the stakeholders, auto-generated analysis will given by the Google form. This Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, all these are the other ways, but these are the not proper ways to give the feedback from the stakeholders. Google form is the very easiest way, very effective way, very easy, user-friendly way. NAC expects you should have to take the feedback from the stakeholders. You should either take manually or online. But online is the very easy way. Once we have received the feedbacks, it is analyzed through the Google Forms, and just we need to take the action, and then next day we have to check the performance after taking the action. So these are the certain ways which we should conduct the what we can say feedback from the various stakeholders. There is one quote which is made in a very popular article that I felt not recognizing the name of that article, but feedback can be fully accepted. Those institutions, those individuals who wants to change themselves, who wants to grow, who wants to improve their performance, they can accept whatever suggestions in the form of feedback are received from the various stakeholders. Such institutions, they accept the feedback received. However, some institutions, they can accept this feedback partially. Why it is partially? The partially means that those are the certain negative comments or the negative vibes. Those points or those comments provides the negative vibes among students and the what we can say the individuals of the organization. So such part is neglected, such part is ignored, and rest of the things are accepted. However, last two things are very bad. That is the modification in the feedback received and rejection of the feedback received. Such kind of those who are following this kind of way of the feedback mechanism, that is modification, just to show the something about everything is going well. That is to they have to show their management, they have to show their or any committee is visiting to the institute, everything is going well. Just they are doing nothing but they are modifying the whatever feedback received from the stakeholders. Everything is going well. So rejection and modification are not the proper ways in the growth of higher education.